Hi everyone, Ariel with Arielpaints. I am filming this video on October 13th, and I just finished what was probably one of my last gigs of the year, Fall Festival. And moving into winter, it gets pretty quiet. I'll usually do a holiday gig, maybe some birthday parties, but besides that, I live in Iowa, so it gets cold, festivals shut down, and there isn't much to do. Now, what many of you probably don't know is that I am not from Iowa. I actually have family on either coast, in New Jersey and in California. I chose to stay here years ago. However, someday I'm going to move. I will relocate, and I have thought often about what I would do to restart my business when I do that. Now, I have worked as a face painter here in the Midwest for over 10 years, so I don't have to do a lot of outward marketing to get gigs. But when I move someday, I will. And I put a lot of thought into what that's going to look like to reinvent my business. I've also gotten many questions from you guys as to how to get gigs. So since I've put a lot of thought into this already, I thought it would be a great video for me to share what I will do someday to reinvent my business when I relocate. And in the meantime, I think it'll be really valuable to a lot of the new face painters out there who are trying to get started and asking themselves, how do I get gigs? So stick around and I will tell you what my plan is, and I really hope it helps. So for some context, I have lived in Iowa now for 30 years. I really like it here. I have tons of friends who are my family here in the Midwest. But since it's just me and my daughter, someday I would like to relocate to someplace warmer. The winters are getting to me. And I've always liked the idea of being able to paint more year-round. It can be very limiting in colder climates because you don't have the festivals or farmers markets or things like that. It's a very seasonal job when you're living in a climate that affects your work. So I have a list of things that I have been keeping in my notes app of what I will do someday when I do relocate. Now this will apply very well to anyone who's a beginner face painter and they're asking themselves, how do I get gigs? So I'm going to do it kind of from the lens of both, whether you relocate or whether you're just brand new and asking yourself, how do I get people to know I'm a face painter? So the first thing you're going to want to do in any career is network. Networking is very, very important. No one is going to help you get gigs or be aware that you're a face painter if you're not telling people. So you can start a Facebook page, which is something you should do from a marketing perspective. But if you're on Facebook and you have, 300 friends in the community, start posting on your own Facebook page. Let everyone know this is something you're doing. If they don't know you're doing it, they can't hire you, they can't think of you. So network. Another part of networking is going through your Rolodex in your brain, right? And think to yourself, who do you know? Do you know someone in marketing? Do you know someone who runs the farmer's market, who owns a local restaurant? Who do you know that would be a good contact to reach out to and tell them this is something you're doing? Most of us know someone in a community that is, that person who's involved in every charity or every event. Find those people and talk to them. So if you tell people this is something you're doing, a lot of times they can do the work for you and they will, call you when they hear like, oh, this festival is coming up or someone's starting a farmer's market in this small town. So tell people what your intention is and put it out there. Let your friends and family work for you by talking about the business that you're starting. Okay, so let's talk about Facebook. Posting on your own Facebook page where you already have friends and family is huge. It allows people to see what you're doing, show them your face paint, and then you're gonna be top of mind when they're having a birthday party. So the other part of that is starting your own Facebook page. At first, you're probably not going to have a lot of followers, but eventually that is probably where you're going to get a lot of business. So I do think it's important to have both. Have a personal page and then have your business page. The other side of the business stuff is getting a website, creating an LLC, all the other business stuff goes along with that, but having a separation to eventually grow the business side of Instagram, TikTok, whatever kind of social media you want to do can be a huge part of your marketing strategy as a legitimate business. Another really great feature within Facebook is the Facebook events page. So when you go to your home screen, you go to events, you can see all the upcoming events happening in your area. That's a great place to look at the different festivals and events that are coming up and email them or message them directly and ask them if they have a face painter. Do they want to hire a face painter? Can you do pay per face? Whatever it is. Look at those events and start asking them if you can be a part of it. The only thing I will caution you about the Facebook events is that very often when they start marketing, they're 2 to 3 months out, and they probably were planning that event 6 months out. So oftentimes they will already have a face painter, but you simply say to them, thank you so much for letting me know. If anything changes, because people back out, you have my contact information. Please get a hold of me. Or if next year there's an opportunity to face paint at your event, please let me know. So it is a good way to put yourself out there and allow these organizations to see that you're an option, because they might have multiple events throughout the year. The face painter they normally use may not be available for all of their events. And people retire, people get out of the industry, people leave. So it is a matter of you putting yourself out there and showing people that you are available, and it's a great way to see your local events. Also with the events, don't forget to expand your search a little bit. So if you are in the main town and you're not looking at the 3 suburbs around you, make sure you're looking just a little bit further out, whatever distance you're willing to travel without necessarily having a travel fee. So if you're just looking, for my instance, I'm in Des Moines in Iowa. If I'm just looking in Des Moines, my events are going to be somewhat limited. If I look at all the suburbs right around Des Moines that are only 25 to 30 minutes out, I'm going to see a whole nother list of events that are open to me. So make sure you're searching around you and not just in your absolute direct area. Other pages on Facebook that you might want to join or look for in your community are the area mom groups. Sometimes there'll be something like Des Moines Mom Group or Community Moms or something like that. Different areas will have Facebook groups. So in my town of Des Moines, there's different areas like Beaverdale Moms or Windsor Heights Moms or just Beaverdale area events pages or something like that. Those groups, I tend to get tagged in a lot. So often someone will go on those groups and say, does anyone know a face painter? And then all the members of that group will tag me over and over and over again because they know I'm a face painter. So I get a lot of gigs and recommendations that way. But if you're already in those groups, then you can just respond and say, I'm a face painter, message me and I'll give you my rates. So keep an eye on those kind of community pages because they can be really beneficial to grow your business and get gigs. So I briefly mentioned Instagram as well. Instagram is a good place to build a page that is just about face painting. That can really help you not only connect with other face painters, but build a place where eventually you can drive a lot of your clients to from a marketing perspective. So Instagram is also good to start. You also, in the beginning, should just post your face painting to your personal Instagram, especially if you have a decent amount of friends and followers. Again, allowing people to see that you are a face painter. This is something you do and they can hire you. So that will go a long way. 10 plus years later now, after I've been a face painter, I still get friends that message me on Instagram and friends that message me on Facebook because they remember they saw me post something about being a face painter on my personal page. So it's a huge, huge advantage and a way to get gigs. Another interesting place that you could go to find gigs and let your neighborhood know that you're a face painter is Nextdoor. So that's an app that is for different like boroughs or areas within your community. So you can post on Nextdoor and tell your direct neighbors that you're a face painter. Something I did really early on is when my neighborhood had the block party, I showed up and I face painted for free. I wasn't a very well-known face painter at that time at all, but I needed the practice and my neighbors remember it. Everyone remembers me showing up that year and doing that, and I got a lot of recognition from my neighbors, and people remembered and hired me later because I showed up and did that, and they go, oh, I have a face painter here in my neighborhood. So that's a really good thing you can do to just practice and get yourself out there. There are also paid ad options on all of these platforms. So you can run an ad on Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor. It's probably not going to give you the direct return of an immediate gig, but it will get you recognition, maybe some followers, community awareness. So although it's an option and it's relatively low cost, you can direct those ads to a specific age group and gender, and you can select the community and area that you want those ads to run to, so who's going to see them. But again, unless someone has a gig they're trying to hire a face painter for, is the return going to be that instant or direct? Probably not, but it is an option and you can try it. Another thing to look for within Facebook are specific groups to your area. So for me, for example, there is a Midwest face painting group where it's a whole chunk of the Midwest of the United States, and people post that they need someone in Minnesota to paint, or Illinois, or wherever it is. Those can be really helpful to be involved in, but then there's also groups that are a little bit more direct. So there's also an Iowa face painter group for me, where we have pretty much all the Iowa face painters in this one group. So if people need an extra person for a gig, or we all want to get together and have a jam and we want to paint, or go to dinner or whatever it is, we're all on there. If you can find a local group to join, it is also a wonderful way to network. So, networking with your fellow face painters. If you move to an area or you're just starting out and there is a local face painter that you admire or that you see all over the place, befriend them, send them a message, walk up to them in a gig, introduce yourself. Local face painters that are already established are going to be a wonderful connection for you. Ask them to go to dinner. Ask them if they want to sit around and make split cakes with you someday. Not only is it really nice to have friends who are face painters, because our industry is so specific. So, I can tell one of my best friends a situation at a gig that was frustrating, or something some kid said to me. It's different than when I'm telling one of my best face painter friends, because they can relate to it so completely. So it's really nice to have that connection to someone who understands your job and, the plight of whatever it is you're doing. But it's also a wonderful way to connect to the community. That face painter probably knows 5 other face painters, and maybe they get together every Thursday and they paint together. And maybe you can get an invite. So it goes all the way back to the beginning of what we talked about with networking. Message those face painters. I've told this story on here before, that when I first started out and I was super nervous and I reached out to a lovely woman who some of you might know. She teaches at some conventions too. Her name is Erica with Queen Bee Face Painting in Iowa. And I was so nervous to message her. I didn't know if she was gonna, never message me back or just think of me as competition and not want to be my friend. The complete opposite. She was so lovely and so sweet and met me for lunch, and we became fast friends, and we work together all the time now. And that was years ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago now, which seems crazy. But I got very lucky because she had been in the community for some time, introduced me to other face painters, And it was a wonderful experience, as well as a great way for me to have someone to hire for gigs too. So I encourage you to put yourself out there, message a few face painters, and see if you can make some friends. It goes a really long way. So another good thing to do is have marketing material. You can do business cards, flyers, little posters, something that you can put out in the community. Business cards are great, and we all need business cards, but they're small and they only have so much information. A business card is great to hand to someone when you're face painting and they go, hey, how can I contact you? Do you have a business card? Give them that business card. They already know what you do. They can see what you're doing. They see your work. And they just want to hire you. They just need your information. But if I walk into a business that I know has a big festival, or maybe they support the farmers market every year, and I just hand them a little business card, that's not very impactful. It doesn't show them my work. It doesn't say anything. So what I will do someday, because I've thought about this, is a little flyer, just a little maybe 5x9 card or something that has my information, but then has some really nice photos of my work to show them that not only am I a face painter, I'm in your area, but this is the quality of what I do. This is what you're going to get if you hire me. A lot of people to this day still, when you say I'm a face painter, they think of a little rainbow on the cheek. They think of a little heart or a star, and they go, oh, that's cute, a face painter, right? And they're not thinking usually of what we can do as professional face painters, these full, beautiful faces of elaborate designs. So if you can show them, it can be much more impactful. So a little card with some great examples of your work, contact information. If you have built up a great social media following, throw that on there. Show them that you have this many, Instagram followers and or TikTok followers or whatever it is. If that is part of your business, advertise that. Making some larger posters is a good idea as well, with the little tear off tabs. You can do those at the grocery store cork boards or community centers or the local Y, wherever they let you hang up that stuff, coffee shops. So pepper your town, keep that marketing material with you so that you're able to hand it out to the appropriate people and you're giving them the right content. When you're handing out marketing materials, think about where kids and parents are hanging out on the weekends. Where are parents booking birthday parties? Is it the local Sky Zone, the trampoline parks, the skate parks, that kind of thing? Go to those establishments and ask if you can put up a poster, leave some business cards. If you see a flyer for the, roller rink and they're doing a neon party every Friday night, ask them, have you ever considered having a face painter at the UV neon party? I can do UV paint. Make a specific flyer with your UV offerings and show it to them. Ask those businesses, can you be an offering for their party package? They're already selling a birthday package where they have the add-ons like cake, and maybe the MC shouts out the kid's name and all the stuff. Ask them, if I give you a cut, would you consider having me, come and being a face painter and being part of the birthday package? This is something that can be applied to a ton of different businesses and could be a great way to get gigs. Another thing to consider are the restaurants around town that have kids eat free on Tuesdays. I don't know what it is about Tuesday nights. Apparently that's a really bad night for restaurants. But all around town, there are these places where kids eat free on Tuesdays, which means there's parents and tons of kids. Go into those establishments and say, you already have 50 kids in here. Ever think about hiring a face painter? Maybe they'll let you come in and do pay per face. There's 50 kids in there rotating out every 2 to 3 hours. That could be a really good gig. So think strategically about what businesses you want to walk into and talk to and leave that marketing material at, or be more direct about it. Make that UV flyer for the skate park having the blacklight party and be really specific with your marketing, and it'll help you get gigs. Having a website for any business is a good idea, especially when you create a name. You're going to want to go by that URL, make sure it's available, and that you can get the web page that you want. However, I will say personally, I get most of my gigs through friends, through word of mouth, and through Facebook. I do have a submission page on my website so people can submit, request rates, they can see my work, all of that stuff. If you're gonna have a website and you want that to be the main drive for your business, you're also gonna wanna probably look into the Google Analytics, make sure that you're coming up to the top search results and all of that stuff. I have never put a lot of focus into that because I haven't needed to. If and when I relocate, that might change and I might have to put more focus on my website than I did just relying on Facebook because of the community I'm in and because I'm well known. So depending on where you're starting from, you might want to focus more on a website and also making sure that you're getting in the top search results for Google. So that's something to consider also. Another thing that does help with that is getting people to give you good reviews. So you might want to ask the people that hire you to please go and review you, give you 5 stars, that kind of thing, because all of that helps with the analytics. I am no expert in that area, so do some research and figure out what the best way to get your website recognized is, and make sure that you're paying attention to that because it could make a big difference depending on what area you are in. Okay, this is kind of a fun one. Paint your face and go out into the world. If you have ever had your face painted and had to stop at the grocery store or the gas station, you'll know you garner a lot of attention. Some of the bigger face paint gigs that I do, the festivals particularly, I do paint my face, especially if it's paper face. I will put an example on my face of something that I want everyone to buy. If I have to stop and go to the grocery store on my way home, everyone in the grocery store notices me, will stop me, talk to me, ask me did you do that yourself? You know, it's a great way to start conversations. On occasion, you will be out in the world face painted and some mom and daughter are gonna go, look, she's the butterfly, right? And then you can start a conversation and say, I am a butterfly, I'm a face painter. You know, hand the mom a card and say, if you ever need entertainment for your birthday party, just let me know, that kind of a thing. So it can be fun and really entertaining, and you'll definitely get attention if you go out in the world with face paint on. Another thing to look into in your area when starting out are agencies. Is there a local agency that is hiring talent or a national agency that you can register with that will hire you and send you gigs? There's one that I work with about faces, and I have been signed up with them for years, and they message me pretty consistently, at least once a month, once every 2 to 3 months, depending on the time of year, and offer me gigs. They give me the date, the time, where the gig is, and the rate that they will pay me for the gig. And then I say yes or no. Oftentimes I'm already booked because I get booked out 2 to 3 months in advance, so I tell them no a lot just because I'm busy, but I have contracted with them a few times and it's pretty smooth. You agree to their terms and you go and represent them. So when I do these gigs, it's not Arielpaints showing up. I'm just a face painter. I cover all the logos on my gear and I show up, I represent them, I do the gig, I, confirm afterwards, gig was done, and then they pay me. Also do some research on your area. Maybe the national organizations aren't the best. Maybe there is a local face painter that is hiring all the other face painters. Maybe they're the face painter who runs all the festivals and they're hiring people to work. There can also be clowns and magicians who hire face painters in your area as well. For years there was a local comedian here who also did balloons, and he would hire a bunch of us face painters for different gigs, and he was really running his own agency. So find those people. Sometimes it's not as easy to see, So you just have to ask some questions, talk to other face painters, find out, is there someone kind of running the show in your area, and do you need to talk to them to get gigs? It's not a bad deal because then they handle a lot of the administrative stuff and you just show up and paint. So it can be a pretty good relationship if you can establish it. There's some areas where that just might not be the case at all, but if it is in your area, you should find out and make sure you get in with those people so that you're getting hired for some of the big festivals. So this is a tip for people starting out who might be in a really dense area where there's a lot of face painters. I was very lucky when I started face painting. There were not a lot of face painters in my area, and I was able to build a business without doing this. If I move to an area where there's a lot of face painters and a lot of competition, I think a good way to stand out from the crowd is to also offer the service of you wearing a costume to the gig. So you're not only a face painter, but you are also a princess or a clown or a pirate or whatever the theme of the party might be. Full transparency, I do not do this. This is not my thing. It never has been. It never will. If I had to do it, I might. But yeah, it's not my jam. There are people that do this really well. I am not one of them. I like dressing up for Halloween. I like to paint my face. You guys know that. But wearing like princess costumes and stuff, I think it honestly has to do with being Ariel my whole life and people calling me a Disney princess. And to this day, I can't introduce myself to anyone without them going, The Little Mermaid, Ariel, Disney, princess. So I have kind of like an aversion to it. I actually know that's why. It just like irks me. But when I see people online who do this, I think it's adorable. There's one face painter in particular. I'm gonna give her a shout out, Kelly Cowart. I'll put her Facebook page up here. She is teaching at ACE in Austin, and I'm an instructor at ACE too. So if you guys are coming to the ACE convention in Austin, please let me know and comment down below. Kelly does this brilliantly. She will dress up as Elsa, princesses. She dresses head to toe rainbows and looks amazing. She also looks like she's enjoying it, which makes a huge difference. I would not enjoy it, so it probably wouldn't work well for me. She has a class at ACE that I believe is called How Not to Be a Basic Bee, which is perfect because she embodies it and it's brilliant. I think if you like the idea of that kind of stuff and you can have fun with it, I think it's an amazing way to separate you from the regular crowd of face painters. Do it. Because as a mom who has done birthday parties for a little girl for 12 years, if I had the choice between Elsa showing up and me in my yoga gear, I'm gonna pick Elsa. So I think it's a really cool thing to keep in mind. And if you like it, run with it, have fun with it. You can also add other things to your offerings like glitter tattoos. You could be a balloon artist. There's a lot of clowns that are face painters and vice versa for that reason. So think, what else can you add that is a value add to your offerings that would allow someone to pick you over the other face painters? Maybe it's not dressing up, maybe it's something else, but consider it, because sometimes in areas where there's tons of face painters, you have got to come up with something that shows everyone that you are unique and different and they should hire you over everyone else. Those are just some of the things that I have considered when I do have to start over someday, but I would love to hear from you guys. What did I forget? What are your top tips? Help everyone who's watching this video and comment down below. We have a wonderful community with brilliant minds, and all of us collaborating together is what makes our face painting community so amazing. So please start talking to each other down below, and let's all help each other come up with better ways to grow our business. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. You guys subscribing to my channel really does help me continue to make free content for you. Please follow me on social media as well. I always put my link tree in the comments pinned on every video. It has links to my Amazon storefront with all my favorite things, face painting and otherwise, and all of my social media avenues as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.